My name is Anna, and I'm going to be going through the Sculpted Wishes art activity with you. We're going to be making candle holders out of air dry clay. And these are going to be perfect for you to use for your next birthday or for any other celebration that you think deserves a candle. So before we jump into that, just make sure that you have your Sculpted Wishes Take-and-Make bag. This bag has everything that you need for this project. So once you have that, let's go ahead and get into the bag and see what we have. Here are all of the things that come in the Take-and-Make bag. You should have 10 different clay colors, a paper plate, a bag of candles, and a small tool to use for sculpting. Once you get everything out, let's get started. Okay, there are two different ways to go about getting started with this project. We can either jump right in and open up the clay and start molding it, or we can start with a sketch and kind of get our ideas ready to go. So if you would like to start with a sketch, then you're going to need to grab a piece of paper and something to write with. Okay, so for my candle holder, I'm thinking I want to do something with a fish on it. And so I'm just going to sketch something out before I get started. Maybe it can be a long fish. Its fin. Maybe there's a piece that sticks down if I want to use this on a birthday cake. I want to give my fish a big eye. And maybe a fin on the side here. And maybe this part will be a different color. Sketching things out helps me feel more organized when I get started. I think I'm going to make little spikes that I'm going to have the candles coming out of. Okay, so this is what it will look like when I'm done. All right, let's pull out the clay and start molding things. The first thing we need to do is start pulling the colors out of the bags that we want to use. I've pulled out this blue, and I'm going to pull out this green. This clay has lots of air bubbles, so we need to squeeze it and get some air bubbles out. Okay, I'm going to try to make my fish's head with this green clay. So I'm going to take a piece and create a ball. Okay. So we can start to mess with the clay and make the shapes that we want. This is a longer piece of the fish that I'm going to try to make. I'm going to rub it between my hands to create a coil like this. Okay, so I want to attach these two pieces. We can just push the clay together. Okay, now I'm starting to have a body for my fish. I like to hold things up to my sketch to see if I'm following along the way I want to. Okay, now I'm going to try to make this fin, and I'm going to use this blue clay. I'm going to pull it apart so I have a smaller piece. And I'm going to pinch it to create those triangle pieces. Since this clay is really soft, we can mold it with our fingers pretty well. Okay, now I want to attach this here. So I'm going to start squeezing these together. Okay, now I have my main fish body. I'm going to use more of this blue clay and create the fin that's on the side of my fish. I'm going to pull it in half so that I can have one fin on either side. Okay. In my picture, it's a very long fin, but I might make it smaller than that. We can just try things out and see what we think. And I'm choosing to make something very specific with this fish, but we could also choose to be more abstract and just put colors together and see what it looks like. Okay, I'm going to add a fin on the other side. And I'm pinching it down here to make the fin pointier. Okay. I'm going to press it down so that it stays on the body. Okay, now I have a fish with two fins. For the eye, I want to use this gray color that's really light. I'm going to open that up. And we need to remember to squeeze it and get all the air bubbles out, or at least most of them. Makes the clay a little easier to work with. Okay, I'm going to pull two small pieces off. And I'm going to roll them into balls by putting it in my palm and then putting my other palm on top and rolling it. Okay, there's one eye. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Use my two palms to create a ball. The eyes might be different sizes, but I think I'm okay with that. Because sometimes it makes, having different sized eyes makes a creature look crazy. Okay, there's the second eye. The fish has two eyes. I think I'm going to make the fish's eyes pink. So I'm going to open up this clay now. And squeeze the air bubbles out. Okay, I need two really tiny pieces because I'm making this part right here, the fish's pupil. Okay, I'm going to make another ball. And this might even be too big, so I'm gonna make it even smaller. There we go. And I'll put it on the other side. And press it on. Now my fish has 2 eyes. The next thing I want to do is create a platform for my fish so that he doesn't tip over so easily. I think I'm going to use more of this gray color. Some of my blue clay got into my gray, and I'm just going to pull it out because I don't want it there. But we could mix the colors a bit if we wanted to. But if you mix them too much, it might make a strange color. Okay, I'm going to try to make this rectangle shape. Okay, I think that will be a good stand for my fish. So I'm going to add it to the fish's belly and just slightly press it on so I don't crush my fish. I'm trying to keep the bottom flat so that hopefully my fish can stand. Okay, there we go. The next thing I want to do is make the part where the candles are going to go. So I'm going to pull a couple candles out. These candles are really thin. We want to make sure that the clay has a holder for them that is the right size. I want to use pink clay again, so I'm going to pull off 3 small pieces to create these parts for the candles. Okay, I'm going to roll these into balls. Okay, I'm going to put them where I want them on my fish. 1, 2, and the last one. Okay, and now I'm going to use my candle to create a holder for it that is exactly the right size. So I'm just pushing this candle into the clay and I'm spinning it around a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to pull out my sculpt tool and I'm going to see if I can just smooth different parts of it down. Maybe I can use the sculpt tool to add gills to my fish. I'm using the pointy end to put dents in the clay. Okay, I think the last thing I want to do is add a mouth to this fish. So what I'm going to do is use my sculpt tool and press in because I want the mouth to open a little bit. Now maybe I can add some teeth. I'm going to use a little bit of this gray clay and roll really tiny pieces. Okay, let's see what I can do. I'm going to put one on top and one on bottom for his bottom teeth. Maybe I can use the sculpt tool to try and make it a spiky tooth. Just a little bit. Okay. Let's put the candles in and see what this candle holder looks like. So I have a spot for 3 candles. Okay, this is how the candle holder looks. The last thing we need to do is set this in a safe place where it can dry. And this clay will dry naturally if we just leave it out in the open air. And we can set it out and we can check on it in a couple hours. We have made it to the end of our Sculpted Wishes video. We all made our own candle holders that we can use for birthdays or for other celebrations. We would love to see what you made. So if you have any pictures you might like to share, then you can send them to the email that's floating across the screen. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time. Bye!